So the other day, I'm wanting to do good for God just because He's so good, graceful, and loving. Like, it's unbelievable. And a thought crosses my mind, and it's just like, maybe I should post a quick Instagram story of the testimony that's on this channel. And that doesn't sound too bad, you might be thinking. It's quick, it's just 24 hours, it's just like, you know. But it scares me a little bit because, I have a lot of, it's a personal story, I have a lot of people following me, I follow them, so. But yeah, that just scares me a lot. This scares me a lot because I want to do good for God. I want to reciprocate the love He has given me. And that possibly means posting that story. So throughout the day, I'm like, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. My mind is like a ping pong game. At sometimes I'm like, God has done so much for me. Jesus was brutally crucified. Like, what is my thing compared to that? And after all this being stressed in my mind, if I should or shouldn't do this, I realize I'm missing the main point, which is just God's love. He doesn't need me to be perfect. God just wants my heart. And with that, He has everything He needs. And it's almost like, stop trying to do more and more and more and more for Christ, Like, I can never even get close to repaying Him or something, I'm so caught up with doing more and more and more for Christ. I'm forgetting about His love. The type of love that is just so overjoyed by our mere presence that we can't even understand. And that sometimes I just think, like, how badly does God want my friends, like my atheist friends? And I just see like God's love for them, and His love is like a beam of light that just pushes away all that sin, and all He sees is just, all He focuses on is just that love for Him, no matter what they've done, no matter what. So what I'm trying to say is, I was out here stressing if I should do this or not, but I was missing the whole point of this, which is just God's love for us. And I'm not saying don't spread the gospel, don't do hard things, be a slave to fear. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying it's okay to not be perfect. And I know God does not want us obsessing over things like, is this going to affect His will, or am I going to have less riches in heaven, or this and that? Because I know I worry about things like that. And, it's okay to not be perfect, because I worry about that all the time. I try and be perfect, and every time I do, I fall flat on my face. This is a side note. This might be pretty obvious to some people, but clearly not to me. I used to think that doing good for God and spreading the gospel was had to be the hardest thing. Like, look at 11 of the 12 apostles. They were all brutally murdered. How not bad is my anxiety compared to that? And so I used to thought you had to do the hardest things, like, I don't know, tell all your vulnerable secrets, or keep persistently telling someone about the gospel, even if they were like fed up with it, like, you were doing good even if they were getting angry at you or something like that. For example, the other day I was trying to spark a conversation about God to an older relative, and I'm scared because, like, what if they're gonna think of me differently, are gonna judge me, think that's silly, and we're having good times recently, I don't want to mess that up. So I'm like, God loves me so much, He's done so much for me, I have to do this. So I think, I'm just going to brute force my way into this, just get it over and done with. And so I start the conversation, but to my surprise, they're actually incredibly friendly. And they said they did believe in a higher power. And I just think that every conversation, about God, or, sparking up a conversation about God should be like that, and that is just so much more powerful than repetitively just telling someone again and again and again. And so I'm saying two things here, which is spreading the gospel doesn't have to be some crazy hard thing that makes you suffer. I'm not saying suffering for Christ is bad, and you're going to suffer regardless, obviously, sometimes. And two, it's a really good way to spread the gospel and show God's work in you through being super generous, nice, hospitable in their timing, showing them your fruit. Like, let's say, you're super friendly, super charismatic, you have your life together, and it's kind of just like setting a standard. If an atheist thinks before, like, maybe Christians are like closed off or don't have their life together, or they're all weird, it's setting that standard, you know what I mean? But I'm just saying you don't have to shove it down people's throats, which I low-key thought you did have to before. Thanks everyone so much for watching. This is just my experience, and this is probably very obvious to you guys, but I hope this just helps one person. Catch you guys later.
And don't forget to like and subscribe.